Welcome to Everyday Nursing Knowledge Lectures, and today we will learn about types of brain bleed. Brain bleed is also called intracranial hemorrhage. It is a type of stroke. Stroke is decreased blood supply to the brain, and it can happen due to a blood clot or bleeding into the brain. Now, brain bleed or intracranial hemorrhage are four types, and they are epidural hemorrhage, subdural hemorrhage, subarachnoid hemorrhage. These three hemorrhage happens within the skull but outside the brain tissue, and they are called extraaxial hemorrhage. The fourth hemorrhage, intracerebral hemorrhage, happens within the brain tissue, and it's called intraaxial hemorrhage. Now let's see extraaxial hemorrhage in detail. Between the skull and brain tissue, there are three protective layers. They are called meninges. They are dura mater from outside, arachnoid matter in the middle, and pia mater, which adheres to the brain tissue. And there is space between these three layers, which is called epidural space, subdural space, and subarachnoid space. Epidural hemorrhage happens below the skull but outside the dura mater, that is in the epidural space. That hemorrhage is called epidural hemorrhage. Subdural hemorrhage happens below the dura mater but above the arachnoid mater, and that space is called subdural space. Subarachnoid hemorrhage happens below the arachnoid mater but above the pia mater, and that space is called subarachnoid space. So epidural, subdural, and subarachnoid hemorrhage happens outside the brain tissue but within the skull and between the meningeal layers, and they are extraaxial hemorrhage. The fourth hemorrhage, intracerebral hemorrhage, happens within the brain tissue, and there are two types. Intraparenchymal hemorrhage, that is within the brain, and it can happen in any of the lobes, pons, cerebellum, brainstem. And intraventricular hemorrhage happens within the ventricles or inside the ventricles. Ventricles are cavities within the brain where CSF is produced. So today we learned about types of brain hemorrhage, and thanks for watching my video.